The crimson glow of the dying star Kithra cast eerie shadows across the bridge of the SC Jeger as Captain Theron Valdres studied the tactical display before him. 3 days had passed since the first reports reached Earth Command about massive alien fleet movements in the outer star territories. Now, staring at the holographic representation of over 200 enemy vessels arranged in perfect formation near the asteroid fields of Meridian Prime, Valdres felt the weight of humanity's survival pressing down upon his shoulders. "Captain, incoming transmission from the SC White," announced Lieutenant Commander Orion Blackthorne, his fingers dancing across the communication console with practiced precision. The bridge's ambient lighting flickered momentarily as the ship's power core adjusted to maintain stealth protocols while receiving the encrypted signal. "Put Commander Nix through," Valdres ordered, his voice carrying the steady authority that had earned him command of one of humanity's most advanced destroyers. The main viewscreen shimmered, revealing the sharp features of Kestrel Nix, her silver hair pulled back in a regulation knot that somehow managed to look both military and elegant. "Theron, our long-range sensors are picking up energy signatures unlike anything in our databases," Nix reported, her emerald eyes reflecting the concern that her composed voice carefully masked. "These aren't the ragtag pirates we've been dealing with in the outer colonies. This is something entirely different." Valdres nodded grimly. The SC White, humanity's newest stealth cruiser, had been conducting reconnaissance missions along the frontier for 6 months. If Kestrel's advanced sensor arrays couldn't identify the alien technology, then humanity was facing an enemy far more sophisticated than anyone had anticipated. "What's our tactical assessment?" Valdres asked, moving closer to his command chair as Chief Engineer Lyra Thornfield emerged from the lower deck access hatch, her coveralls stained with the telltale blue residue of quantum reactor maintenance. "Sir, I've been monitoring their formation patterns," Blackthorne interjected, calling up a three-dimensional battlefield map. "They're not moving randomly. There's a mathematical precision to their positioning that suggests advanced predictive algorithms. They're planning something big." Through the reinforced viewport, the vast expanse of space seemed deceptively peaceful. Stars twinkled like distant diamonds against the black velvet of infinity, betraying none of the tension that crackled through both ships' crews. But Valdres knew that peace was an illusion. Somewhere beyond the sensor range, Admiral Zephyr Kalen was marshalling what remained of the Third Fleet after the devastating losses at Proxima Station. "Captain," Thornfield spoke up, her voice tinged with the excitement that always accompanied her technical discoveries, "I've been analyzing the quantum resonance patterns from their ships. Their propulsion systems are generating gravitational distortions that shouldn't be possible with our understanding of physics. We might be looking at technology that's centuries ahead of ours." The implications hit the bridge crew like a physical blow. Humanity had always prided itself on rapid technological advancement, but if these aliens possessed science that defied human comprehension, then every tactical advantage Earth's forces had counted on might prove useless. "Commander Nix, what's your crew status?" Valdres inquired, knowing that the coming hours would test every person under their command. 97 souls aboard the White, all ready for whatever hell we're about to face," Nix replied with characteristic directness. "My weapons officer has been running continuous diagnostics on our railgun arrays. We've managed to increase our firing rate by 12% through some creative modifications to the charging cycles." Valdres allowed himself a moment of pride in humanity's greatest strength, adaptability. Where other species might rely solely on superior numbers or advanced technology, humans excelled at innovation under pressure. It was that quality that had carried them from their home world to the stars, and it might be the only thing that could save them now. "Sir, Admiral Kalen is requesting immediate conference with all ship commanders," Blackthorne announced, his console chiming with an incoming priority signal. As Valdres prepared to join the tactical briefing that would determine humanity's next move, he caught his reflection in the darkened surface of a nearby monitor. The face that stared back showed more lines than it had a year ago, testament to the mounting pressure of defending an ever-expanding frontier against unknown threats. But his eyes still held the determination that had driven him to accept command of the Jeger despite knowing the risks. The alien fleet continued its ominous approach toward human space, their intentions unclear but undoubtedly hostile. In the coming battle, 2 ships and their crews would stand as humanity's first line of defense against an enemy that threatened not just their colonies, but their very existence among the stars. Admiral Zephyr Kalen's weathered face filled the conference screen as ship commanders from across the scattered Third Fleet linked into the emergency tactical session. His steel-gray beard framed a mouth set in a grim line that spoke of decisions no leader should have to make. Behind him, the bridge of the SC Dominion bustled with activity as crew members prepared for what many believed would be humanity's most desperate hour. "Gentlemen, ladies, we have confirmation," Kalen began without preamble. "The alien fleet has begun active scanning of our outer colonies. Whatever they want, they're not interested in negotiation." The Admiral's words carried the weight of 40 years of military service, from the Mars Rebellion to the Titan mining wars. Valdris leaned forward in his captain's chair as the holographic display updated with real-time intelligence. The enemy formation had shifted, spreading into what tactical analysts would recognize as a classic envelopment pattern. "Admiral, have we attempted any form of communication? 3 hours ago, we transmitted standard first contact protocols in 17 different mathematical and linguistic formats," Kalen replied, his expression darkening further. "Their response was to accelerate their approach vector and begin charging what our sensors indicate are weapon systems of unprecedented power." Commander Nix's voice crackled through the communication array from the SC White. "Sir, my ship detected massive energy spikes from their lead vessels. The quantum signatures suggest they're capable of destabilizing molecular bonds at the subatomic level. We could be looking at weaponry that can literally unmake matter." The silence that followed Nix's assessment spoke volumes about the fear creeping into every human heart. Lyra Thornfield, monitoring the conversation from her engineering station, felt her hands tremble slightly as she realized the implications. Humanity's greatest battleships, with their meter-thick titanium steel composite hulls and advanced defensive screens, might prove as effective as paper against such technology. "What's our fleet strength?" asked Captain Darius Vex, commander of the heavy cruiser SC Thunderbolt, his voice tight with barely controlled anxiety. Kalen's pause stretched uncomfortably long. 17 operational vessels, including your ships. The enemy fleet numbers over 200 confirmed contacts, with possible reinforcement still beyond our sensor range. The mathematical impossibility of victory hung in the air like a funeral shroud. Blackthorn, studying the tactical display with the intense focus that had made him one of the fleet's youngest senior officers, suddenly straightened. "Admiral, I'm detecting anomalous behavior in their formation. 3 of their largest ships are maintaining position while the rest advance. Could be command vessels. Or it could be a trap," countered Captain Elena Voss from the destroyer SC Raptor, her reputation for paranoid caution having saved her ship on numerous occasions. Valdris found himself studying the alien fleet's movements with the analytical mind that had served him well in previous conflicts. There was something almost familiar about their tactical approach. Not the specific maneuvers, but the underlying logic. "Admiral, permission to speak freely?" "Granted, Captain. These aliens, whatever they are, they're not just attacking randomly. They're testing us. Every scan, every formation change, they're gathering data about our responses, our capabilities, our weaknesses." Valdris paused, a terrible understanding beginning to form. This isn't their first contact with a spacefaring species. The implications of Valdris's observation rippled through the conference connection. If these aliens had encountered other civilizations before, then humanity might be facing an enemy with vast experience in interstellar warfare. Worse, the fact that they were still expanding suggested that their previous encounters had ended in their favor. "Captain Valdris raises a disturbing possibility," Kalen acknowledged. "Intelligence suggests we may be dealing with a nomadic conquest force, possibly the remnants of a galactic empire seeking new territories after exhausting their previous holdings." Nix's image flickered as the SC White adjusted its position to maintain communication security. "If that's true, then we're not just fighting for our colonies. We're fighting for our species' survival." Chief Engineer Thornfield's voice cut through the growing despair with characteristic pragmatism. Sirs, I've been analyzing the quantum resonance data from their ships. Their technology may be advanced, but it's not perfect. I'm detecting harmonic frequencies that suggest their power systems might be vulnerable to electromagnetic pulse attacks if we can get close enough. Close enough might be a suicide mission, Captain Voss observed darkly. Valdres felt the familiar surge of determination that had carried him through every crisis of his career. Maybe, but it's better than waiting here for them to pick us apart at their leisure. He looked directly at Admiral Kalen's image. Sir, request permission to coordinate a reconnaissance in force with the SC White. If we can confirm Chief Thornfield's analysis, we might have found our edge. Kalen's nod was barely perceptible, but it carried the weight of command decision. Granted. You have 6 hours before they reach engagement range of our main fleet. God help us all. As the conference connection terminated, Valdres turned to face his bridge crew. Each face reflected the same mixture of fear and resolve that he felt in his own heart. They were about to face the unknown, armed with little more than human ingenuity and the desperate hope that courage might somehow overcome impossible odds. The space between the human fleet and the alien armada stretched like a vast killing field, punctuated only by the occasional asteroid and the distant glow of cosmic dust clouds. Captain Valdres watched the tactical display as the SC Jeger and SC White moved in perfect coordination through the void, their stealth systems engaged and all non-essential systems powered down to minimum operational levels. Distance to contact, 400,000 kilometers and closing, Blackthorn reported, his voice barely above a whisper despite the fact that sound couldn't travel through the vacuum outside their hull. The tension on the bridge had reached the point where even breathing seemed too loud. Commander Nix's face appeared on the secondary communication screen, her features illuminated by the soft blue glow of her ship's instrumentation. Theron, my sensors are picking up individual ship signatures now. Whatever these aliens are, they build big. Their smallest vessels are larger than our heavy cruisers. Valdres nodded grimly, watching as the enemy formation resolved into distinct contacts on his screen. The alien ships defied conventional design principles, their hulls flowing in organic curves that seemed to bend light around them. Biomechanical rather than purely technological, as if grown rather than built. Captain, I'm detecting massive power fluctuations from the lead vessels, Chief Engineer Thornfield announced from her position at the engineering console. Her fingers moved across holographic controls with practiced precision as she analyzed the quantum signatures emanating from the alien fleet. The harmonic frequencies I mentioned earlier are becoming more pronounced. If I'm right about their vulnerability to electromagnetic pulse, we need to hit them when those power levels peak. Lieutenant Commander Blackthorn suddenly tensed, his eyes widening as new data cascaded across his screens. Sir, the aliens are deploying some kind of probe network. Small objects, roughly fighter-sized, spreading out in a search pattern. Have they detected us? Valdres demanded, moving closer to the tactical display. Negative, but it's only a matter of time. These probes are using active scanning methods we've never encountered before. They're not just looking for electromagnetic signatures, they're mapping gravitational distortions at the quantum level. The bridge fell silent except for the steady hum of life support systems and the occasional beep of monitoring equipment. Every person present understood the implications. Humanity's stealth technology, their greatest tactical advantage, might prove useless against sensors that operated on entirely different principles. Commander Nix, are you seeing this? Valdres asked, opening a direct channel to the SC White. Confirmed, Theron. My science officer believes these probes are conducting detailed scans of local spacetime. They're not just looking for ships, they're mapping the entire battlefield. Nix paused, and when she continued, her voice carried a note of reluctant admiration. Whoever these aliens are, they're thorough. Valdres studied the alien probe deployment pattern, looking for any weakness they could exploit. The probes moved with perfect coordination, maintaining precise distances from each other while systematically scanning every cubic meter of space between the two fleets. It was a level of tactical sophistication that spoke of vast experience in interstellar warfare. "Captain, incoming signal from Admiral Kalen," Blackthorn announced, routing the communication through secure channels. The Admiral's image appeared on the main screen, his expression more grim than Valdris had ever seen it. "Captains, our long-range sensors have detected additional alien fleet elements dropping out of hyperspace beyond Meridian Prime. We're looking at reinforcements that could double their numbers within 12 hours. The news hit the bridge crew like a physical blow. Nix's sharp intake of breath was audible through the communication link, while Thornfield muttered something under her breath that definitely wasn't regulation language. "Sir, what are your orders?" Valdris asked, though he suspected he already knew the answer. "We can't wait for them to complete their deployment. The Third Fleet will begin our attack run in 2 hours, with or without intelligence on their weaknesses." Kalen's voice carried the finality of a man who understood he was potentially ordering his entire command to their deaths. "Whatever you two can discover out there, we need it now." As the communication ended, Valdris turned to face his crew. Each member of his bridge team had volunteered for this mission knowing the risks, but the reality of their situation was more desperate than anyone had imagined. "Chief Thornfield, how close do we need to get for your electromagnetic pulse theory to work?" "Minimum effective range would be 10,000 kilometers, sir. But at that distance, we'd be well within their weapons envelope. If I'm wrong about their vulnerability." She didn't need to finish the sentence. "Then we die," Valdris completed matter-of-factly. "But if we don't try, our entire species might follow us into extinction." Blackthorn looked up from his console, his young features set with determination. "Captain, I've been analyzing their probe search pattern. There's a gap in their coverage, a corridor roughly 500 meters wide that we could use to get closer without detection." "Both ships?" Nix asked from the SC White. "Negative, Commander. The corridor is too narrow for both vessels. One ship would have to take point while the other provides overwatch." Valdris felt the weight of command settle on his shoulders like a lead blanket. The decision he made in the next few moments would determine not just the fate of his crew, but potentially the survival of humanity itself. Outside their viewports, the alien fleet continued its inexorable advance, their intentions clear even if their capabilities remained largely unknown. The moment of truth was approaching, and Captain Theron Valdris knew that the next few hours would test everything he believed about human courage, ingenuity, and the will to survive against impossible odds. The SC Jeger knifed through space like a predator stalking its prey, every system optimized for stealth as Captain Valdris guided his ship toward the narrow corridor Blackthorn had identified in the alien probe network. Behind them, the SC White maintained overwatch position, ready to provide covering fire if their approach was detected. "Distance to probe perimeter, 50,000 kilometers, Blackthorn whispered, his hands steady on the sensor controls despite the sweat beading on his forehead. The bridge lighting had been reduced to minimum levels, casting everything in an eerie red glow that matched the tension permeating the air. Chief Engineer Thornfield monitored the ship's power output from her station, making minute adjustments to keep their electromagnetic signature below detection thresholds. "Captain, I'm reading massive energy buildups from the alien fleet. Whatever they're preparing to do, it's going to require enormous amounts of power." Valdris nodded grimly, watching as the tactical display updated with real-time intelligence. The alien formation was beginning to shift again, the massive vessel spreading into what looked suspiciously like a bombardment pattern. If they were preparing to attack human colonies from this distance, their weapons technology was even more advanced than anyone had feared. "Commander Nix, are you tracking the energy signatures from your position?" Valdris asked, opening a secure channel to the SC White. "Confirmed, Theron. My science officer believes they're charging some kind of planet-killer weapons. The quantum resonance patterns are off the charts." Nix's voice carried a note of barely controlled fear. "If they complete their charging cycle, they could sterilize entire worlds from millions of kilometers away." The implication struck the bridge crew like a thunderbolt. This wasn't just an invasion force, it was an extermination fleet. The aliens weren't interested in conquest or resources. They intended to wipe humanity from existence entirely. Time to weapons-ready status? Valdris demanded. Approximately 47 minutes at current charging rates, Thornfield replied, her voice tight with concentration as she analyzed the alien power signatures. But sir, there's something else. The harmonic frequencies I detected earlier are becoming increasingly unstable. If we can deliver a precisely timed electromagnetic pulse during their firing sequence, we might cause a cascade failure in their entire weapons grid, Valdris finished, understanding immediately. What's our window? Seconds, maybe less. We'd have to time it perfectly, and we'd need to be close enough for the pulse to penetrate their shielding. Blackthorn suddenly straightened, his eyes widening as new contacts appeared on his display. Captain, the alien probes are converging on our position. They've detected something. Through the viewports, tiny points of light became visible as the alien probes adjusted their search pattern. Each probe moved with mechanical precision, their sensors sweeping space in overlapping patterns that grew tighter with each passing moment. Distance to detection? Valdris asked, his command training keeping his voice steady despite the fear clawing at his chest. At current rate of approach, approximately 12 minutes before they achieve sensor lock, Blackthorn replied, his fingers dancing across his console as he refined the calculations. Valdris made a decision that would haunt him for the rest of his life, however long that might be. Helm, increase speed to attack velocity. All hands, battle stations. We're going in. The SC Jeger's engines flared to life, abandoning stealth for speed as Valdris committed his ship and crew to what amounted to a suicide run. Behind them, Commander Nix's voice crackled through the communication array. Theron, what are you doing? You'll be exposed to their entire fleet. Someone has to get close enough to deliver the electromagnetic pulse, Valdris replied, watching as his ship accelerated toward the alien formation. Kestrel, your job is to get word back to Admiral Kalen about their planet-killer weapons. Humanity needs to know what they're facing. The alien probes immediately shifted to intercept the SC Jeger, their own propulsion systems igniting with brilliant blue flames. Within moments, the first weapons fire began filling the space around Valdris's ship as the probes attempted to disable rather than destroy their target. Evasive maneuvers. Valdris ordered, feeling the ship buck and roll under his feet as the helm officer threw the Jeger into a series of complex evasion patterns. Energy bolts capable of vaporizing steel plating sizzled past their hull, missing by mere meters. Hull temperature rising, but within acceptable parameters, Thornfield reported, her voice strained as she monitored the ship's systems under combat stress. Sir, I'm detecting response signals from the main alien fleet. They're powering up additional weapons systems. On the tactical display, the massive alien vessels began to turn toward the SC Jeger like predators focusing on wounded prey. Points of light began to glow along their hull surfaces as weapon systems that dwarfed anything in humanity's arsenal prepared to fire. Time to effective pulse range? Valdris demanded, gripping his command chair as the ship shuddered under near-miss impacts. 8 minutes, sir. But Captain, at our current approach speed, we'll be in their primary weapons envelope for at least 6 of those minutes. The Jeger wasn't designed to withstand that kind of punishment. Valdris looked around his bridge at the crew who had followed him into this desperate gambit. Blackthorn continued to coordinate their evasive maneuvers with grim determination. Thornfield worked frantically to keep their systems operational under increasing stress. Every face reflected the same knowledge, they were probably about to die. But in their eyes, Valdris also saw something else. Pride. The knowledge that they were buying time for their species, that their sacrifice might give humanity the edge it needed to survive. It was, he realized, the most human thing of all, the willingness to face impossible odds for something greater than themselves. The alien fleet opened fire, and space around the SC Jeger exploded into a maelstrom of energy and death. The SC Jeger bucked and rolled through a hurricane of alien weapons fire, her hull plating screaming as superheated energy beams carved molten furrows across her armor. Captain Valdres gripped his command chair with white knuckles as the ship's artificial gravity fluctuated under the massive strain of combat maneuvering. Hull breach on Deck 7. Chief Engineer Thornfield shouted over the cacophony of alarms and emergency systems. Sealing compartments 12 through 15. We've lost main power to the port weapons array. Sparks cascaded from overloaded consoles as Lieutenant Commander Blackthorne fought to maintain targeting locks on the alien probe network while simultaneously coordinating their evasive maneuvers. Captain, I count 37 probes closing on our position. Their formation is designed to funnel us directly into the main fleet's weapons envelope. Through the chaos of battle, Valdres's tactical mind processed the alien strategy with grim appreciation. The probes weren't trying to destroy the Jeger, they were herding her like a wolf pack driving prey toward the killing ground. Every evasive maneuver he ordered played directly into their hands, bringing his ship closer to the massive alien vessels whose weapons could vaporize a human destroyer in seconds. Distance to electromagnetic pulse range? Valdres demanded, ducking as another near miss sent a shower of sparks across the bridge. 4 minutes, sir, but... Thornfield's voice trailed off as new data appeared on her screens. Captain, I'm detecting something unusual. The alien weapons aren't firing at maximum efficiency. Their energy output is being limited by some kind of internal restriction. What kind of restriction? I think they're trying to capture us alive, sir. The aliens want our ship intact. The realization hit Valdres like a physical blow. If the aliens were interested in capturing human technology, it meant they either respected humanity's capabilities or needed something humanity possessed. Either way, it represented an opportunity. Blackthorne, can you isolate the command frequencies the probes are using to coordinate their attack? Working on it, sir. The tactical officer's fingers flew across his console, analyzing the electromagnetic spectrum around the alien probe network. Got it. They're using a quantum entanglement communication system, but the base frequency is... His eyes widened in surprise. Captain, they're using mathematical constants from our own databases. They've been studying our technology. Valdres felt a cold smile spread across his face as a desperate plan began to form. Chief Thornfield, can you modulate our communications array to broadcast on that frequency? Theoretically, yes, but sir, interfering with their command network would disrupt their coordination long enough for us to reach pulse range, Valdres finished. Do it. As Thornfield worked frantically to reconfigure their communication systems, the SC Jeger continued its deadly dance through the alien weapons fire. Another hit rocked the ship, and this time Valdres felt the deck plating buckle beneath his feet. Structural integrity down to 67%, Thornfield reported. Sir, if we take another hit like that. How long for the communication hack? 30 seconds. Through the viewports, the massive alien vessels loomed larger with each passing moment. Their hulls stretched for kilometers in each direction, organic curves flowing like living tissue under armor that seemed to absorb and redirect the light from nearby stars. Weapon ports along their surfaces glowed with barely contained energy, each one capable of reducing the Jeger to constituent atoms. Communication array ready. Thornfield announced. Transmit random mathematical sequences on all probe command frequencies, Valdres ordered. Maximum power output. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The alien probes, suddenly receiving conflicting orders from what appeared to be their own command network, began firing on each other in mechanical confusion. Explosions blossomed throughout the probe formation as sophisticated targeting algorithms turned lethal in the absence of proper coordination. It's working. Blackthorne shouted, his voice filled with the first hope they'd felt since beginning their desperate approach. The probe network is collapsing. We have a clear run to the main fleet. But even as he spoke, new contacts appeared on the tactical display. The massive alien vessels were launching what appeared to be fighter craft, sleek predators that moved through space with the fluid grace of living creatures. Unlike the mechanical probes, these new opponents showed signs of biological pilots capable of adapting to changing circumstances. Distance to pulse range? Valdris asked, watching as the alien fighters accelerated toward his ship. 90 seconds, sir. But those fighters will intercept us in 45. Valdris opened a communication channel to the SC White, knowing this might be his last chance to coordinate with Commander Nix. Kestrel, we're almost in position, but we need covering fire on the fighter screen. Understood, Theron. The White is moving to attack position. Nix's image appeared on the screen, her face set with the same grim determination that had carried her through a dozen previous battles. My crew sends their regards to your crew. It's been an honor serving with you. The farewell carried the weight of finality, but before Valdris could respond, the alien fighters opened fire. The space around the SC Jeger erupted once again into a storm of energy and death, but this time, Valdris could see their destination. The massive alien vessels hung before them like mechanical gods, their planet-killer weapons nearly fully charged and ready to unleash extinction upon humanity's colonies. In 60 seconds, Chief Engineer Thornfield would either save the human race or die trying. It was, Valdris reflected, exactly the kind of impossible situation that brought out the best in his species. The SC White emerged from the asteroid field like an avenging angel, her rail gun spitting streams of hypervelocity projectiles into the alien fighter formation. Commander Kestrel Nix stood on her bridge, watching as her weapons officer coordinated the most precise firing solution of his career, each shot calculated to maximum effect against targets that moved like living things through the void. Direct hit on Fighter Group Alpha, reported weapons officer Zara Quinlan, her voice tight with concentration. 2 confirmed kills, 3 damaged. But Captain, they're adapting to our firing patterns faster than anything I've ever seen. Meanwhile, aboard the SC Jeger, Captain Valdris watched his ship's hull temperature climb into the critical range as alien weapons fire intensified around them. The fighters that had survived the White's opening salvo were closing fast, their organic-looking hulls seeming to pulse with their own internal light. 30 seconds to pulse range. Chief Engineer Thornfield announced, her hands flying across her control console as she prepared the electromagnetic pulse system. Sir, I'm detecting massive power fluctuations in the alien fleet. Their planet-killer weapons are approaching full charge. If we don't stop them in the next few minutes. She didn't need to finish. Everyone on both ships understood that millions of human lives hung in the balance of the next few moments. Jeger, this is Admiral Kalen. We're detecting your approach on long-range sensors. The entire Third Fleet is moving to support your position, but we're still 18 minutes out. Whatever you're planning, you're on your own. Valdris acknowledged the transmission with a tight nod, then focused on the tactical display showing the remaining distance to their target. The massive alien vessel that appeared to be the fleet's command ship hung before them like a mechanical mountain, its hull bristling with weapons that could reduce his ship to debris in seconds. But Thornfield's analysis had been correct. The harmonic frequencies emanating from the alien power systems were becoming increasingly unstable as they approached full charge. If they could deliver a precisely timed electromagnetic pulse at the moment of maximum instability. 20 seconds to optimal pulse range, Thornfield reported. But sir, the alien fighters are going to reach us first. The alien pilots had indeed adapted to the human ship's tactics, weaving through the SC White's defensive fire with uncanny precision. Their weapons, though smaller than those mounted on the capital ships, were more than capable of disabling a human destroyer at close range. Blackthorn, transfer all available power to forward shields, Valdris ordered. We only need to survive 20 more seconds. The first alien fighter strafed the Jeger's hull, its energy weapons carving a burning line across the ship's armor plating. Emergency klaxons wailed as atmosphere vented from breached compartments, but the ship's damage control systems held. Hull integrity at 43%. Thornfield shouted over the noise. "Sir, I don't know if we can take another hit like that." Through the chaos, Valdris heard Commander Nix's voice crackling through the communication array. "Jeger, the White is moving to close intercept. We'll clear the remaining fighters off your approach vector." "Negative, White. You need to maintain your position for extraction." But Nix had already committed her ship to the attack run, bringing the SC White directly into the alien fighter formation in a desperate attempt to buy the Jeger those final crucial seconds. Her ship's point defense systems blazed like miniature stars as she engaged multiple targets simultaneously. 10 seconds to pulse range," Thornfield announced, her voice barely audible over the sound of explosions and failing systems. "Power levels are green across all systems. We can do this." The massive alien command ship loomed before them, so close now that Valdris could see individual details on its biomechanical hull. Weapon ports along its surface glowed with barely contained energy, and he realized with sick certainty that they were about to fire their planet-killer weapons regardless of the human ship's proximity. 5 seconds. 4. 3. 2. Fire. Chief Engineer Lyra Thornfield triggered the electromagnetic pulse system with every ounce of power the SC Jeger could generate. The pulse erupted from their ship like an invisible thunderclap, racing outward at the speed of light toward the alien fleet's power systems. For a moment that stretched into eternity, nothing happened. The alien command ship continued its inexorable preparation for planetary bombardment, its weapon systems glowing with death incarnate. Then the harmonic cascade began. The pulse struck the alien ship's power core at the precise moment of maximum instability, and the resulting feedback loop propagated through their entire energy grid like a virus. One by one, the massive weapon systems began to overload, their carefully contained energies turning destructive in ways their designers had never anticipated. The first explosion was small, merely a secondary power coupling releasing its stored energy. But that explosion triggered others, and those triggered still more, until the entire alien command ship became a cascade of internal detonations that lit up the void like a newborn star. The destruction spread to other vessels in the alien fleet as their interconnected power systems succumbed to the same harmonic instabilities. Within minutes, over half the alien armada was either destroyed or critically damaged, their planet-killing capabilities reduced to twisted wreckage drifting through space. But victory had come at a terrible price. The SC White, caught in the expanding wave of alien ship explosions, had taken critical damage while protecting the Jeger's escape route. Commander Nix's ship was drifting powerless, her hull breached in multiple locations. "Kestrel, respond." Valdris called desperately into his communication array. After long moments, Nix's voice came through, weak but determined. "We're alive, Theron. Barely. Life support is failing, and our engines are gone, but we're alive." As Admiral Kalen's reinforcements finally arrived to mop up the remaining alien vessels, Valdris stared at the expanding debris field that had once been humanity's greatest threat. They had won, but the cost of that victory would echo through the fleet for years to come. 3 months after the Battle of Kythera, Captain Theron Valdris stood in the observation lounge of Earth Station Meridian, watching as construction crews worked around the clock to repair the SC White. Commander Kestrel Nix's ship had been towed back to human space more dead than alive, her hull resembling Swiss cheese after the desperate battle that had saved humanity from extinction. The official reports called it the greatest tactical victory in human military history. The alien fleet, later identified through recovered debris as belonging to a nomadic empire called the Hegemony, had been completely destroyed. Intelligence analysis of their technology suggested they had conquered dozens of other civilizations before encountering humanity's stubborn refusal to submit quietly to extinction. But for Valdris, victory felt hollow as he read the casualty reports that seemed to grow longer each day. 47 crew members lost from the White during the battle. 8 more from the Jeger. Each name represented a person who had followed their commanders into hell and paid the ultimate price for humanity's survival. The memorial service is scheduled for 1400 hours, announced Lieutenant Commander Orion Blackthorne, approaching Valdres with a data pad containing the ceremony details. The young officer had been promoted to executive officer following their return, recognition for his crucial role in disrupting the alien probe network. "Any word on Commander Nix's condition?" Valdres asked, though he already knew the answer from Blackthorne's expression. "The doctors say she'll make a full recovery, sir. Physically. But the neural trauma from her ship's life support failure." Blackthorne paused, struggling to find appropriate words. "She doesn't remember the battle, sir. The doctors think her mind may have blocked out the worst parts as a protective mechanism." Valdres nodded slowly. Perhaps forgetting was a mercy. He certainly wished he could forget the sight of the white drifting powerless through the debris field, her hull glowing red from internal fires that had nearly consumed her crew. Chief Engineer Lyra Thornfield appeared in the lounge entrance, still wearing the coveralls that had become her unofficial uniform during the months of post-battle analysis. Her electromagnetic pulse theory had been vindicated spectacularly, but the knowledge had come at a cost none of them had anticipated. "Captain, I've finished my analysis of the alien technology we recovered," she reported, her voice carrying a note of concern that immediately caught Valdres's attention. "Sir, I think you need to see this." She activated the lounge's holographic display, showing a three-dimensional reconstruction of the alien command ship's computer core. The organic curves and biomechanical interfaces looked eerily familiar, triggering memories of the battle that Valdres had tried unsuccessfully to suppress. "What am I looking at, Chief?" he asked, though something deep in his gut already suspected the answer. "A star map, sir. But not just any star map. This shows the location of every planet the hegemony has encountered over the past millennium." Thornfield manipulated the display, highlighting thousands of star systems across multiple galactic arms. "Captain, they've been systematically exterminating intelligent life for over 1,000 years. We count at least 47 different civilizations that are simply gone." The implications hit Valdres like a physical blow. Humanity hadn't just won a battle, they had broken a cycle of genocide that had been continuing for centuries. Somewhere in the galaxy, there might be other civilizations still fighting for survival against other hegemony fleets. "There's more, sir," Thornfield continued, her expression growing even more grave. "The star map shows planned targets for future expansion. We weren't their final destination. They were just passing through on their way to something called the core systems." "What are the core systems?" "Near as I can tell from their databases, it's a cluster of several hundred inhabited star systems near the galactic center. The most densely populated region of space in the known galaxy." Thornfield paused, letting the magnitude of her discovery sink in. "Sir, if there are other hegemony fleets en route to the core systems." Valdres felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders once again. The Battle of Kythera hadn't ended humanity's war against the hegemony, it had only been the opening engagement in a conflict that might span decades. "Have you shared this information with Earth Command?" "Yes, sir. Admiral Kalin is requesting a meeting with all surviving ship commanders at 1500 hours. Apparently, Starfleet intelligence has been receiving distress signals from the direction of the core systems for the past 6 months. Through the observation lounge's viewports, Valdres could see the stars that held both promise and threat for humanity's future. His species had proven they could stand against impossible odds and emerge victorious, but the galaxy was vast, and there were other civilizations out there who needed the kind of help that only humans seemed capable of providing. As he prepared to leave for the meeting that would likely send him back into the darkness between stars, Valdres thought about the memorial service scheduled for later that day. The names of the fallen would be inscribed on a monument that would remind future generations of the price paid for humanity's survival. But perhaps more importantly, those names would serve as inspiration for the battles yet to come. In the depths of space, other voices were calling for help, and Captain Theron Valdres knew that humanity would answer that call, no matter how impossible the odds might seem. The stars awaited, and among them, the next chapter of humanity's greatest adventure was about to begin.